Hello, everyone, and very warm welcome to this week's podcast, which is going to be all about a school in Kenya called Unity School, which is in Mombasa on the eastern coast of Kenya. And we're going to be talking a bit about the school itself. And I'm delighted to be joined by the headmistress and the deputy head teacher or school manager. I will find out his official title in a minute. Norbert and Mary Obara. So, hello, Norbert and Mary.
Hello, Jacob. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Happy Easter to you both. Norbert or Mary, or both of you at the same time, would you mind telling us a bit about your school, first of all, please?
Yeah, our school is just like you said. It's within Mombasa, and right now, as we speak, the school is shut because of the coronavirus problem. And as we speak, we have a population of about 440 students, and we have a staff of about 36 that man the school. And yeah, right now we are happy because we have space. We have enough rooms for all our learners to get in because of the work that Friends of Mombasa Children have done, who are based in the UK. So at the moment, we are shut. We are waiting for the directives from the government, from the health officials, when we will join, when we will come back. It's up to God and up to what the ministry will say.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk more about the impact of the virus in Kenya in a few minutes. But let's just talk a bit about the history of the school, Norbert, because you mentioned there about the buildings that you've got now. Mary, would you mind telling us a bit about the school's past and, well, how far you think the school has come? Because you've both been there quite a long time, haven't you? But Mary, you've been the headmistress for quite a number of years now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Unity School has been in existence since officially since the year 2009, and we had a population back then. We had less than 100 pupils, and with time we've had pupils coming in from different areas within Bombolulu area. And this, we can say that it's because of the good performance, the good results that we've been registering. And that's why the community around have come to learn about Unity School, and that's why they've become interested, and hence the new, the big number.
So just to clarify, Bombolulu is a suburb of Mombasa, isn't it? What are the kind of problems that you face in the local community where your children live?
Bombolulu being like a slum area where most of our children are coming from, and you realize that some of the children are coming from families that are maybe single parent families. Some have maybe foster parents. Some are living with maybe their relatives. Just a few of them are coming from the complete families, or normal families, if I may use that word.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And
yes.
So how does Norbert said that the school's developed a good reputation now based on its good results. How do students, say, apply to come to Unity School, or how do they find out about it? Do you go out to find them, or do they come to you, or is there a mixture of those two things?
Maybe some years back, we had to look for the children, but as time went by, because of the good results, the children just come to our school, and then they go through some interview We interview them, we get to know their background, we get to know their history, medical history or health status. We get to know something to do with their, family, if they have family members, the parents and so forth, siblings. And then, of course, we also give them some interview to do with their levels. For example, if they're beginners or if they are in different classes, we also will give them something to help us know where to place them as they come in.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mary. Norbert, just before we begin to talk about the impact of coronavirus, say I'm an 11-year-old student. I've come to Unity School for the day. What would be my routine of the day? Because it might be quite interesting for any young people listening to this to hear about what's the day of the life like for a student in Mombasa, say who's 11 years old or something.
11-year-old child begins school at 6:30 in the morning.
Well, that's already a big difference.
That's when our classes. So when they begin at 6:30, they begin with spelling and maybe handwriting, and then they do some calculus, some calculations in mathematics, and after that, now from 7:40 in the morning, now the normal lessons begin, where they go on with the normal lessons. On Mondays and Fridays, they go for assembly, whereby all children plus the whole staff must be at the assembly every Monday in the morning and every Friday in the morning, that is 7:20 in the morning, before they begin the classes at 7:40. So it's just about 15 minutes whereby we give briefing on what will happen in the week, and then Friday we just say thank you for the cooperation we've had with all the learners plus the general staff. So on a daily basis, we start at 6:30, we continue throughout the day, then during lunch break, all of them assemble and get their hot meal, and after that they go back for the afternoon lessons, which ends at 5 o'clock. Though in between we have games where they can go and play as much as they want, that's 1 hour. Then everything ends at 5. Then we have now the bigger children, the 12 years old, 13 and 14, who will remain in classes up to 6:30 again in the evening.
Is that to do their homework?
Sorry?
Is that to do their homework, or they have more classes up until 6:30?
They have more classes. They have more classes up to 6:30. That's when the school ends every day.
So that's a long day for staff and students. So do they get tired? They must be very tired by the end of that day.
Yeah, now they're used to that. They're used to that because we're trying to balance. You see, as from 11, there's a lot of heat as from 11. You've been in Mombasa and you know how hot it can be. So when they learn early in the morning and they learn late in the evening, that's when they grasp more. And that's what helps them. And then our system is so involving to the extent that it's just, they learn by rote. So if they learn through rote.
To clarify here, you're talking about the Kenyan education system, the Kenyan exam system.
Yes, it's examination oriented. So a lot of revision has to be done, and they have to do a lot of cramming for them to be able to excel. But what we are trying to do as a school, now that we've had the opportunity to even go overseas and see how the English people are doing the education, we've borrowed a leaf. And our teachers have been trained in such a way that we try to make our learners have a lifelong education, not just to pass examination and that's it. And you can see even after that, after they are done with their KCPE, wherever they go to, they always excel. We have so many kids who have been going to prestigious universities in the country.
It's worth pointing out.
And we were lucky to have...
Sorry to interrupt you there,
Sorry?
Norbert. Sorry to interrupt you there, Norbert. But it's worth pointing out that lots of your students have gone off to do fantastic things after Unity School, haven't they? You've got some students off in university at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's very true. We've got students, so many of them in various universities within the country. And we have quite a number of them also in secondary schools, and they are all doing very well. And we are also lucky to say that one of the students managed to go to the US and studied there, and he finished. So as we speak, they're still there in the US. We are praying for them wherever they are. So Unity School is a school that we are proud of.
Fantastic.
Because of the achievements that we've got for children.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Norbert. Let's go on to talk about the coronavirus impact then, because in the UK, obviously, schools have been closed a couple of weeks before the Easter holidays. It's had a huge impact nationwide, let alone just in education. Mary, let's just have a chat about how you think, how has the virus had an impact on your school already?
At the moment, because the schools were closed, after having the first case, the president ordered that all schools should be closed, and therefore our children went home abruptly, because we were not even prepared for that. We had completed 10 weeks, and we were preparing for the end of term examination, but that was cut short by that order or directive from the president. So at the moment, we tried to give our kids or our children some assignment to help them, continue the studies. And we realized that it's been a challenge, because now that the children were at home, and the only way that we tried reaching them was through WhatsApp. And it is still a challenge, because not all parents can afford, airtime or bundles to get into the WhatsApp. And as if that is not enough, some of them don't even have the smartphones. So it's been a challenge, actually.
That's really.
Although as a school. Sorry?
I was just going to say that's really interesting to hear, because as a teacher in the UK, we've been relying heavily now on online lessons and online learning. How are you? What are your expectations for your teachers now? Because obviously that's more problematic if not every child has access to the internet or access to a phone.
Okay, as teachers, we are a worried lot. We are really worried, because we are not sure if some of our children are able to study back at home, because you realize that even some of the parents, some of them did not go to school well. So it's a challenge. Even as we try to give them some work to do, some assignments, some work, it's been a challenge, because even the parents back at home cannot assist them as the way we expect them to help them. And also as teachers, some of our teachers are also getting problems, because at the moment they are on unpaid holiday. So even just to afford airtime or bundles for going online, or getting to the social media and try to post some of the learning materials, it's a challenge even to us or to our staff members. So it's really a challenge, and we are just crossing our fingers that this thing will end soon, so that we can resume work and help these learners get the knowledge that they need to get.
Well, thank you, Mary. That sounds incredibly difficult in terms of the finances behind sustaining education from a distance in Kenya is very difficult. What about the kind of health impact? Because in the UK, we've all been told to isolate ourselves in our homes, and having visited Mombasa, lived there for some time, I know that in parts of Mombasa, that's going to be very difficult for people to isolate themselves because lots of people live in very close quarters, don't they? What problems do
Yeah.
you think? What problems do you think people in Mombasa are going to have with the health impact of the virus?
On that, we've also been advised to stay at home and self-quarantine. But the challenge is, like you mentioned, most of the areas or the estates or where the communities stay, we stay very close together. You realize that one house can host like 10 families, so it's very difficult to keep the social distance. You'll realize that the kids will always be kids. They'll still continue playing because most of our parents or most of us stay in one-roomed houses. One room meaning that is where the kitchen is, that is where the bedroom is, that is where the sitting room is. So and then it's a bit hot. And you realize also we share like water points, we share the toilets, we share the corridors. So keeping distance is really a challenge. And even for the kids, parents can try and restrict them, but you'll always find children playing outside, mingling with others. So it's been a challenge, a really big problem. And right now we've been advised also to wear masks. In fact, it's now it's criminal if you're found not wearing a mask. And the challenge is even the masks that we are supposed to wear, you'll find that market price, it's like $1 or 100 shillings. And you'll realize that most families cannot afford that. So you'll find that people just come up or improvise something to, just close up the mouth and the nose, like scarves or handkerchiefs or even a piece of cloth, just to try and comply with that order. But it's really a challenge. But we are just praying that things will get better, and those who are infected will get help, will get medical attention, and that we are going to try as much as possible not to spread that virus. But here and on the ground, it's really a challenge. It's really a challenge, a big challenge. Though we are continuing with the washing of hands, we have different water points where we have like gatherings, like the marketplaces. We have water points with soap, so people are encouraged to wash their hands, of which they are doing that. But the biggest challenge is on keeping that social distance. It's not really possible. Yeah.
Well,
it's a challenge.
Thank you, Mary. Norbert, let's. You mentioned about the exam system in Kenya and the fact that the education system in Kenya is very exam focused. I mean, what's the situation with that now? Are these exams going to take place? Are they? How are you working out the future of the students who would be taking their exams this year?
Yeah, just like Mary said, teachers are really trying their best, even with the little resources that they have. They're really trying to reach those students they can reach. It's just sad that they cannot reach all of them because, especially the candidates class, we've got so many poor ones. There are so many poor parents from the candidates class. So we're just reaching a handful and hoping against all the odds that by the end of the year, they also sit for the exams. So teachers are doing what they can, though we've been, at first they wanted to go to these houses and teach them and teach the children. But again, the government stopped that as well because they knew that would be another way of spreading the disease. So the children who are poor, who cannot afford the social media, are the mercies of God. They are the mercies of God. All I can say.
And for teachers as well, Mary said that your teachers, for example, are on unpaid holiday at the moment, so things are quite difficult for them financially. Has the Kenyan government offered any package to people, not just teachers, but perhaps people who have gone unemployed as a result of the lockdown and the virus?
We saw that one began in Nairobi. They thought of the slum areas in Nairobi. So we hope that one will be able to reach Mombasa as well. But they began in Nairobi.
Okay, so
they are giving these people who are unable to, because the number of people, Kenya has got a population of over 15 million people, depend on daily going to work and getting something on a daily basis. If they are locked down, then it means that they're going to suffer. So government is coming with the cushion measures. They're trying to see how they can help those from the most poor areas as they progress on. So it's unfortunate that it has not begun in Mombasa, yet Mombasa is also worst hit. So many people are sleeping hungry, so many people are staying hungry because so many employments are locked. So it's a challenge. It's a big challenge.
Finally then, last thing, do you think that this, in the UK, we were talking a couple of weeks ago on this podcast about perhaps the longer term impact of the coronavirus on education. For example, it's likely here that more meetings, educational tools will be developed online, for example. Do you see a similar thing happening in Kenya? Do you think that this lockdown, this virus, will have any longer term effects on education in Kenya?
Yes, even the Minister of Education talked about this a few days ago. That was on Tuesday. He said that the only time that our kids, the Kenyan kids, missed the education, he said it was 3 weeks. Right now, as we speak, because our holidays are always in April, he said that they are on holiday. They will speak to us on how best they'll help all the learners or postpone whatever they're supposed to postpone. If it's an examination and all that, they'll speak to us in May when they're supposed to resume. But they told us and parents not to panic because they're also seeing the problem and they know that we need to have the information. Though they're working on it, they're working on how best they'll help us. But now sometimes they do forget that not all parents are accessing even the television to get the information. Not all parents are accessing even the radios to get the information of such kind. So we hope and pray that they improvise ways and means of reaching all parents so that they can be able to get the information and help all the children in the country equally. As we speak right now, the government has made the televisions. They have made teachers to teach the learners through the television, and teachers are doing that one. The radio lessons, teachers are doing that one through the radios. But again, not all learners are getting this. So they said that they're working on something. We are also waiting with bated breath to get what they will come to tell us come May.
Thank you, Norbert. We've got a couple of minutes left. Just finally, before we finish, is there any message that you would like to pass on to students, not just in the UK, but perhaps around the world as well, about how they should approach this period? Because for many students, as you say, they've gone from a period of quite high pressure where they're expecting exams to those exams being cancelled or being delayed. They've gone from an environment of being at school to now being at home for an indefinite period, an undefined period. Mary, what would your message to students at this time of, this momentous time in history be?
I would say that, or I would like to encourage all the learners that they need to continue with their studies. They need to have like a timetable so that they have like a routine so that they just continue going through their assignments, going through their work, so that when things will cool down and when we'll go back to normalcy, they'll be able to do the right thing because they've been studying, they've been doing everything that they're supposed to do. So let them not give up. We believe that things will work out and things will go back to normal. Though at the moment, they need to continue with their studies. We are hoping for the best, and all will be well.
Thank you, Mary. Norbert, would you like to share something?
Here, just on the same note, they should not panic. They need to focus on God more and believe that God will completely annihilate the problem, and they should just assume that things will go on as normal and continue with their studies.
So not panic and carry on as normal. Make sure they've got a routine. Thank you very much, Norbert and Mary. It's been a pleasure. And I'm sure that...
Thank you too.
And I'm sure all of our listeners and students and teachers here alike would wish you all the very best with the difficult circumstances that you're facing in Kenya with the lockdown and with the virus. So thank you very much. And thank you for listening.
Thank you too for...
Thank you.